How absurd. A Legend of Zelda game where you play as Zelda? It's called The Wand of Gamelon. We've already had it. But here we go, the Echoes of Wisdom. I am excited, and one's at the ready because Zelda is wielding a mythical staff that has with it the Spirit Tri that clearly has connections to the Triforce, Zelda lore, and you bet I've got some absurd Zelda theories about this, including the placement on the Zelda timeline. First of all, though, just looking at the trailer, I'm super excited and so glad to see this is coming this year. It's coming as soon as September. This game starts with a little combat sequence between Link and Ganon. Ganon is wielding his Triforce and takes the form that he has typically in the Downfall timeline, as it's known in the Hyrule Historia. This is possibly, by the way, one of the most retconned, changed, sequelized, and prequelized parts of the Zelda canon. Originally, there was A Link to the Past, then they added a sequel set of games, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, and then Link's Awakening. They of course have remade Link's Awakening since in the exact art style of this, and sometimes art styles are a good thing to look at. You look at Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, or Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, they share an art style, so it's possible that the Echoes of Wisdom fits somewhere in here. If it does, though, it's going to be contending with A Link Between Worlds, which is a sequel to A Link to the Past set far in the future. There's a sequel to that called Triforce Heroes, which the canonicity of which I don't even know, and I may just be saying that because I haven't played it. Yeah, it just doesn't look like a game that appeals to me. And so with all of that in mind, where does this game go? Well, art style isn't always the best thing to look at. After all, Wind Waker is set as a sequel to Ocarina of Time and looks entirely different. But if it is part of that timeline, I would suggest it's possible that it's a prequel to Link's Awakening, not a sequel. My reasoning for this, of course, is that Link in Link's Awakening does know Zelda and Ganon, so perhaps this is set from that time. If that's the case, what we might be seeing here is Link vanquishing Ganon, a memory of which will join him into the world of the Windfish, the Dream Realm, in Link's Awakening, and appear in the form of Nightmare at the very end of the game. But a lot of you will say, no, Toby, that's because Link's Awakening is after A Link to the Past, and the climactic battle of Link to the Past is Link against Ganon to save Zelda and the Triforce, as we're seeing here in the Echoes of Wisdom. If that's the case, what we might actually be seeing in this cutscene is A Link to the Past, the final battle. However, it's an alternate narrative, where instead of Link wishing upon the Triforce, Ganon does something with his trident upon defeat. That something means that Link does not make a wish upon the Triforce, and instead, Zelda has to rescue him. Where from? Well, if it's set in the same canon where Lorule exists, perhaps that's where these portals lead to Lorule. This also gives us a really solid idea as to what the Spirit Tri is. Tri gives Zelda a staff to help the people of Hyrule and to help rescue Link. And Tri, with its golden look and the three triangles floating behind it, is a clear nod to the Triforce. So what exactly is this creature? Possibly, it's the Triforce incarnate. It's some kind of emissary of the Triforce, or of the three golden goddesses, coming to help Zelda directly. The goddesses intervening isn't totally unusual in the world of Zelda. In Wind Waker's prequel story, the people of Hyrule pray to the goddesses, and they certainly intervene by flooding Hyrule. And the Triforce is known to speak directly to Link. In fact, in this canonicity, transporting him to the worlds of Holdrum and Librina in Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. So perhaps what we're seeing is an alternate ending to A Link to the Past, in which instead of wishing upon the Triforce, Link is sent to Lorule or some other dimensional realm. And because something's gone awry with history here, the Triforce makes itself manifest to help out the Princess Zelda in restoring the timeline to its natural state. Or perhaps it's just helping Zelda in creating a new timeline split, because who cares, am I right, Nintendo? What we do know is that this game is probably set in the time of legend, the time of mythos that predates Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom by at least 10,000 years. Where specifically it sits may not matter, but the fact of the matter is, it is one of those legendary stories of the heroes of old long before those games. And if that's the case, knowing that we've all just played Tears of the Kingdom, this game could be serving another purpose, to explain the whereabouts of the Triforce during the canon of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Perhaps it's no longer in its physical form, perhaps it's in the spirit creature, Tri. And I know what you might be thinking. Toby, this is absurd. This is some absurd Zelda theory. There's no evidence to suggest that the creature of Tri exists within the same continuity as Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Except there is. Tri, you see, has a special ability. It allows Zelda to create echoes of other objects and things that she sees in the overworld. It sort of stores a memory of them. It starts with the objects taking a corporeal form and then turning them into something physical. Does that remind you of anything? Didn't we just have this in Tears of the Kingdom? The power of the Zonai seems to have the ability to recall and recreate objects. The auto-build feature isn't just a feature, it is part of the canon of the game, one of the many Zonai powers that is bestowed upon you. Where did the Zonai learn this incredible technology? We know that the Zonai had to have some knowledge of the Triforce, of the Golden Triangles. Triangles appear all across their designs, of their clothing, and everything else going on with them. But the Triforce does seem oddly absent in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Perhaps it's because the Triforce for them, within the sort of new canon, instead never quite took the form of the 3 golden triangles left by the goddesses, but instead took the form of Tri, with 3 golden triangles floating behind it, a being that could just create matter out of nothing. And in studying this creature, they were able to create the Zonai ability to create echoes of previous objects. What this points to is the idea that Echoes of Wisdom is a part of the time of legend, sure, but actually confirms that the Zonai founding of Hyrule is the founding of a new Hyrule, set far in the future, tens of thousands of years on. And the reason for the absence of the physical Triforce and only the iconography of it is because the Echoes of Wisdom marks the point where the Triforce and its essence became the being Tri. Clearly, the Triforce had physical form at one point. Triforce symbols appear all over the Echoes of Wisdom trailer, including in front of the Great Deku Tree. And that's something else, because both the Deku Tree and the Gerudo, in a blink and you'll miss it moment, appear in this trailer. Both of which appear in Ocarina of Time before the timeline split, but don't actually appear anywhere else in the Downfall timeline, suggesting something else. That once again, Zelda team might be just sort of retconning the Zelda timeline as we've known it. And we will actually be seeing some kind of update to all of this in the upcoming Zelda Masterworks book that comes out next month. And that perhaps once again they're leaving the floor open to us Zelda theorists for our own interpretations. If so, when I get to finally play this game, I'll get to decide where it fits into my own personal Zelda timeline, and I'll be sure to give you an update then. As for what other absurd Zelda theories this can spawn, well, you'll have to make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay tuned into this channel, because once I play the game, I'll be sure to let you know if I have any.